What's up, y'all? This is Rob with Cinema Bullies. Been seeing some posts on Facebook and a couple pages on Facebook about, top producing studs. And everybody got their opinions, there's some really nice producing studs. But at the same time, how are you guys gonna say a stud is a top producer when you can't name champions or grand champions that dog has produced? Granted, some of the dogs might have puppies, still, because there's also young studs that are throwing some nice dogs. But until that dog produces champions, grand champions, dual, champions and grand champions, that stud's not a top producing stud. I don't give a fuck who he is. What's his name? I don't care how much clout the dog got or how much the owner, takes good pictures of the dog and photoshops him and makes it look like it's something that's not. Because, for example, I have two studs. Neither one of them are spectacular, Do I like both of my studs? I do. They're both young. Still got a lot of maturing to do. Neither of them are even a year and a half yet. Would I say they're top producers? No, they ain't nothing. Nothing. Are they something that I'm going to incorporate in my yard? Absolutely. Do I think they got potential to produce some nice dogs? Absolutely. But some of these people, just a lot of these people out here are seriously all on the hype trains, man. It's all hype. Everyone's a hype. What about all the dogs that are badass that you don't even know about? How many dogs that are in pet homes that you never seen before, and they're better than all these top producing or top studs that people are claiming to be? Some of these top producing studs haven't produced shit that I've seen that even looks good. To be honest, you got somebody like, Tone that has, all that Waffle House blood, and Waffle House himself. That dog, in my opinion, and most people's opinions, that's a top producing stud, period. I don't care what year it is. I don't care if it's fucking 2016 or 2021. That dog, just that name speaks for himself. Then you got Khan, you got all his blood, you got the Rocco. Rocco, produces amazing dogs. How many litters has he had? I don't know. But I'll tell you that he does throw a certain look. Same thing with Bashar. Muscle tone blood. That guy did it all before everybody else even started doing it. Look at all his pedigrees, man. All inbred 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And now all you clowns now are starting to do that because you guys are starting to realize that's how you do it. And from my experience with the pit bulls, from my father being in the game since the 80s and having game dogs, I already knew about all that shit. And that's what I've been doing since I started getting into this. I've established my blood that I liked, and now what I'm doing is line breeding and inbreeding what I have. And that's what I will be doing until I get a certain look that I like, and then tighten that up as much as I can, and then I'm going to outcross it, and hopefully I, maybe have a top producing stud one day. But hopefully my stud will throw more true than a lot of these top producing studs that you guys like to talk about. And I'm not hating on anybody. Everybody's making lots of money and, getting more attention to the breed, which is awesome. But I hate to tell you, but a lot of these top producing studs that you guys like to talk about produce nothing but issues. So, I mean, heart murmurs, kink tails, cleft palates, underbites, easty westies, hip dysplasia, all the fun stuff that you know, some of it you can see, some of it you can't. Why do you think all these studs that are dying before they're 2 years old, you think that's just coincidence? That's just an accident? No, that dog had a heart problem. I hate to tell you, but that's the fucking truth. And if you want to say, oh, no, that's not the case, you're in denial and you're a liar. I mean, to everyone's face, because a dog that dies before 2 years of age has a congenital defect, if it's respiratory or cardiac. There's something wrong internally with the dog. You can't see it. The dog looks great. But, you know, anything above a grade 3 heart murmur, you're going to have trouble. If that dog gets over anxious or, you know, gets too excited even, or runs around too much. And then also, not to mention the soft palates. I mean, that cuts off the air to the dog to breathe, which causes them to panic and, you know, can cause, you know, heart issues. I mean, it can cause them to have a heart attack or, you know, some type of cardiac arrest, and then the dog dies. I mean, my dog, Komodo, he died on the side of Atlantic City Expressway, and I had to give him mouth-to-mouth, CPR, you know, chest compressions, everything, trying to save him, and it wasn't enough. He was off of Derby City's The Situation, bred to a Dax daughter named Roxy, and I'm assuming that he did have a heart murmur. He didn't have one all the way till he was about almost 1.5. And then when I took him to the one vet that I go to, they said he had a grade 2 heart murmur. And he was checked by that vet, you know, 3 to 4 times, and there was never a heart murmur. So that shows you right there. I mean, you just don't know with this breed. The defects come later. I mean, the heart murmurs can develop within the first 2 years of the dog, even later. So that's all this stuff. A lot of this big name blood, I mean, is passing along, and a lot of them know it, and they just don't care, because, you know, they're lining their pockets, you know, which is, and I understand. But when I know I was mad that I bought my dog Komodo for, you know, $5,000 plus shipping, and he died before he was 2 years old, and I only had 1 litter off of him, and none of his puppies have heart murmurs, but he only had 1 litter, and then he died. So to me, that was a loss. And not to mention my best friend, my first show dog. You know, it was a very hard time in my life when it came to this dog stuff, because I've, you know, always been passionate about dogs, and got a soft spot for dogs and kids. I don't care about nothing else. I don't care about nobody or nothing else. But that's just who I am. That's how I am. And back to what I was getting at. Nobody can, I mean, everyone has their opinion about top studs. My question is, people to ask themselves before they say something or hype somebody's shit up. Look how many litters that dog had. Look how his offspring looked like. Look at how many champions and grand champions, if any grand champions, that dog has produced before you go calling a dog a top producer. And that's all I'm saying. I mean, it's just embarrassing that people are posting stuff like that, and they just ride in people's nuts. I was never that way. I've never been built that way. A lot of people that know me know I pretty much call it how it is, and I ain't afraid to hurt anybody's feelings. And you know, if they got a problem, you put the gloves on or no gloves, it don't matter to me. But at the end of the day, this is all supposed to be fun for everybody, and also not just fun, but I feel like a lot of people lost sight in what the whole goal of this was, and that was to better the breed and live up to the, you know, standard of what is expected from responsible breeders to be doing. And I hate to say it, but you don't see that too often. There's only a handful of guys that I see that are really doing good in this game that I personally know. I mean, I'm sure there's other guys, but they're, you know, shout out to, you know, a certain amount of people. You know, there's people from, you know, the Vault Bullies I'm friends with that they do right. You know, what's it called? Randy that has, I think, 401 Bullies or whatever his name is now. He's doing his thing. My buddy from Sly Bullies, he's new, but he's got the right mindset, and he's doing all the testing and everything correctly. He's doing everything very professionally. And then, you, of course, I mean, obviously you got the OGs that you all know. And then I got the dudes from Western Mass Bullies, Eddie and Javi and Brian. You know, they're all good guys. My buddy Matt Zimmerman, you know, he has all that old school stuff that I'm incorporating in my program, that I'm bringing back into into what I'm trying to do. So I already have some of that blood, it's just watered down, and now I'm bringing it all back. But, you know, there are some of the people that are still doing right by the breed that I personally know, and I believe they are. And, you know, a lot of people just ain't doing that. And people need to start getting called out on it too. Because until people start opening their mouths, nothing's going to be done. Which, I mean, a lot of people just don't care. Which, you know, it's none of their business. I guess they look at it that way. But this breed as a whole needs to stand together and stand up for doing better by the breed. Because what's the point of us doing this if we're not going to better the breed? So this was just a little rant. I just, you know, I've been wanting to post a video for a minute, so this is the first thing I saw on my timeline today. I felt like I needed just to bring up a little bit, and I went a little off topic, but you get what I'm saying, hopefully. If not, you know, comment below. You know, let me know what you think. Check me out on Cinema Bullies on IG. I don't hand out my Facebook, but if you're friends with me on Facebook, cool. If not, you know, if you see me, add me. But I just don't, I'm not publicly just giving my Facebook out because that's more personal for me. And hopefully this gets to some people, and hopefully you guys agree with me. And if you don't agree with me, when you see me, come up to me, have a talk. Don't matter to me either way, because I know what I'm going to do, and hopefully what I do is going to help point the breed in the right direction, along with some of the guys that are already doing it. All right, let me know what you think. Take care.